The Princess and the Glass Mountain. There was once a wise king who ruled over a fine and wealthy kingdom. Though he had all the goods one could wish for, his one most prized was his beloved daughter Lena. The queen had died in childbirth, and so the king had raised his daughter alone with the gentlest of care. He loved his daughter dearly, for she reminded him of his wife of long ago. It came to pass one day that the princess was of age to marry. The king thought to himself, "The one who marries my beloved Lena must be of such grand qualities that no one could ever stand above them, for only one such as this deserves the hand of my dear Lena." And so the king sent out a proclamation that whoever could complete the task set before him should have both Lena's hand in marriage and half of his kingdom as well. The only catch was that if the suitor failed, he would be banished with shame forever. Many suitors came. Again and again the brave men tried their best to complete all the tasks set before them. But each one failed, and each one was sent with heads hanging into the woods beyond the kingdom with nothing in their pockets. Finally, the suitors stopped coming, for it was said that to try to win the hand of the princess was to beg for banishment. So difficult and unreasonable were the tasks of the king. One day, a woodcutter's son was standing by the side of the road chopping wood. The king's procession rode by, and the lad looked up just as the princess rode by. So great was her beauty and her kind smile that the woodcutter's son feared his heart would stop. She turned her head and glanced at him again as she rode around the corner. For indeed the princess was equally smitten. "Oh my," she sighed, "if only I could marry a soul such as that one, for the heart of that man was bright." But she knew such a thing could never be, for her father would never set before such a man a task that could possibly be met. The woodcutter's son ran to his father's cottage. "Father," he called, "I am off to win the hand of the princess." His father only shook his hand, while his mother begged him to reconsider. But the woodcutter's son only replied, "It is the path I must take, dear mother." And with that he was off to the palace. Being of little means, however, the woodcutter's son was forced to walk the long dusty road to the palace gates. On the way, he saw a fish gasping for breath in the stream by the side of the road. He had a hook in his mouth and was able to swim back into the safety of the water. "Oh, please help," cried the fish. "I must get back to my family in the river. Please don't let me die." The lad ran to the stream's edge and said with compassion, "Of course, my friend, I will do all that I can." And he sat by the edge of the water until the hook was released. He set the fish back in the stream. Before it swam away, the fish said, "I will never forget your kindness. Any time I or any of my kind can help, please call on me." And with that, the fish swam happily away, and the lad continued on his way. Soon he saw a dove lying in the middle of the road. It had a thorn in its wing and could not fly. "Oh, please help me," cried the dove. "The horses are bound to run me over as they pass. Please help." The lad stopped and said, "Certainly, I will do all that I can to help." He carried the dove over the side of the road and removed the thorn, and then he placed a healing ointment on the wound. In no time the wing had healed, and the bird began happily flapping its wings. "Hooray! Thank you, my friend." The dove turned to the woodcutter's son before it flew away. "Any way that I or any of my kind may help, please call on me, for we will answer your call, kind stranger." With that, the dove flew away. It was not long before the lad finally reached the palace. He knocked upon its gates and asked to have an audience with the king. The guards laughed, but brought the dusty, wet lad before the king, who called out angrily, "Who is this wretch that stands before me?" The king was angry, you see, for he guessed why the lad had come. The woodcutter's son glanced at the princess standing breathlessly beside the king and knelt before her father. "I have come to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage, sire. I will do whatever you ask, for I love her dearly, and I know in my heart we are one." The king was horrified by the man before him. "What insolence!" he yelled. "How dare you stand before my beloved daughter? What right do you have to ask for her hand?" "None, sire," the lad answered honestly. "None but the love in my heart and the devotion I have for her every happiness. It is said that anyone may try. Might I?" The king paused at this as the princess cried out, "Oh, father, please let him try. Please, father, an easy task for this one." The king looked in disbelief at his daughter. He turned to the young man before him. "You may try," he said, "but know this. For your insolence, if you fail this test, you shall be sentenced to death. If you pass, however, you will marry my daughter and win half the kingdom." "No," cried the princess, and she ran to the lad. "Do not try it. You will not pass." The woodcutter's son smiled gently at her. "My heart is brave even at the sight of you, princess." He turned to the king. "Give me my test. I accept your condition." The king replied, 3 days' ride from here lies a great lake. In the middle of this lake I tossed my beloved's wife's ring in a moment of sorrow. The water is many leagues deep, dark and cold, and I have missed her ring and wished my daughter to wear it on the day of her wedding. Bring this ring to me in 1 hour." He turned sadly and walked away. The princess, weeping, followed him. The guards, laughing, threw the lad outside the palace gates. "Well," they said, "it seems your love will be the death of you." The lad stood alone in the dusty road once again. He walked to the side of the road and sat by the river's edge. "Oh, what have I done?" he said to himself. All at once a voice called out to him from the river, "Young lad, what is it that saddens you so?" The lad looked up and saw the fish he had helped. The woodcutter's son told him of his sorrows. "This is no problem. I told you I would repay your kindness towards me. I know of this ring of which you speak of, and I shall call upon my family to get it for you. I only fear we cannot bring it back in time." The two sat thinking for a moment. Then just another voice spoke from the top of a nearby branch. "I shall bring it for you, kind sir." The woodcutter's son looked up and saw the dove he had rescued looking down at him. The fish and the dove agreed, and off they went. In no time, the dove returned with the golden ring in its beak and placed it in the hand of the woodcutter's son. "I am grateful to return the favor of your kindness." He flew off as the woodcutter's son joyfully ran to the palace gate. This surprised the guards, and they sent him to the king. When the king saw the woodcutter's son had not only brought the ring, but even before the hour he had requested, he was amazed. He turned and saw the longing in his beloved daughter's eyes. "Truly, you are such a man as I never have seen. I grant you my daughter's hand." The princess and the woodcutter's son were married that very day amongst great rejoicing. When it came time for the woodcutter's son to rule, he did so with a just and wise heart, full of compassion and concern for others. So it was that the princess and the woodcutter's son lived happily ever after. The end.